Hi, fifth graders. Miss Fairmont here to give you an update on the mold experiment. Now, most of you are following along with my mold experiment, which I'm going to get back to in just a second. First, I want to talk now to the people doing their own mold experiments. And especially, I want to give a shout out to Nicholas T. for uploading his entire experiment on my Flipgrid. You should check it out. I put a link in the assignment directions. If you're doing your own experiment, make sure you fill out your data table every few days so you can keep track of your results. And consider sharing your experiment on Flipgrid. All right, so back to my mold experiment. If you remember, a few days ago, I put some tortillas into a Ziploc bag. I added some substances, we called them additives, to each bag to see if they would stop or slow the mold and decomposition process. I did not put any additives into the control bag because it's important to know what would happen without changing the variables in an experiment. All right, in a second, I will show you close-ups of what the tortillas looked like after 3 days. But first, I want to show you what you should have already filled out on your data table. As part of the March 30th assignment, you were supposed to get this data table ready and fill out your hypothesis. I highlighted the parts you should already have filled out. If you haven't filled out these parts yet, I want you to stop this video, find the data table, and write your hypothesis. All right, so now the part you've been waiting for are tortillas. Hi, boys and girls. Miss Fairmont here. I wanted to show you what our tortillas look like today. Today would be day 3 of the experiment. And so let's go ahead and take a look at those. Our control pretty much looks the same. Additive 1, it looks like the brown sugar got all dissolved and absorbed into the tortilla. So the tortilla is a little darker in color, but I don't see any mold growth yet. Our additive 2 tortilla, which had the salt, I can zoom in a little bit. You can see most of the salt has dissolved and absorbed into the tortilla, although there's still a little bit left that's solid. The tortilla looks basically the same except for these bubbly spots here, but no mold growth on this tortilla yet. And lastly, our additive 3 tortilla, the vinegar, looks largely unchanged, except I did notice that it was broken up here. So as of now, none of our tortillas are showing any kind of mold growth, not even the control. So when we fill out our data table, we just need to record for each tortilla. We just need to record that there's no mold growth right now. Now that we've observed the tortillas, let's take a look back at our data tables. The highlighted boxes, that's the day 3 row, is what we should fill out now. Please pause this video while you do that. When you've finished filling out the day 3 row, restart this video. Okay, so now you're done with the day 3 row in your data table. Don't lose your data table because you're going to need it to fill out what happens on day 7, day 10, and day 14. I'll post videos after spring break to show you each of those. One last thing before you go. We've been talking mainly about fungus, like mold and mushrooms, as decomposers, but there are a lot of other living things that help to decompose dead matter. Yesterday, I was digging around and cleaning things up in my backyard when I came across this piece of wood that was under a large pot. I used this particular pot to grow fresh herbs in, and I needed to add some new potting soil and clean up all the debris that had gathered around the pot. When I lifted the pot up, I saw this fabulous example of decomposition in action. This piece of wood had been sitting under that pot for about 2 years, so it took about 2 years for this piece of wood to decompose this much. Do you notice that large rotten area in the piece of wood? Can you spot any critters that are helping the decomposition? Pause your video so you can look for them. All right, are you ready? I spotted a pincher bug, sometimes called an earwig, several slugs, some snail shells. I also spotted these worm castings. That's just the fancy name for worm poop. And there's something else at the top. It looks like it could be an old exoskeleton of a roly poly. I love roly polies. They're so cute and they're great as decomposers. All right, scientists, that's it for today. Be sure to fill out the Google form for this assignment and have a great spring break.